what type of coat would you suggest to wear when it's rather cold? I'm looking for something that'll go well with a ghillie shirt, but keep me warm on when it's a cold day.
Hmm.
Coat
So
to
look
go
good.
with a okay.
I was gonna say, so we're talking like a casual, slightly romantic kind of look. Like we're talking
That
like a ghillie, like the lace up ghillie shirt or a grandfather shirt or something like that.
that's kind of what I'm
Okay.
gathering from his comment.
Okay.
Hmm.
We get asked this fairly regularly. I mean, I would not worry about the shirt so much and just say we're talking casual here. So, what do you think?
Forget the shirt itself and just go into practicality of being warm. Just whatever spring type jacket you have, whether it's like an Ike style jacket, you want to make sure that it's short enough to be able to wear with the kilt, so it's not going down and covering up a good amount of the pleats or going down to the bottom of your sporran. Because when you sit down, specifically in a jacket where you have to zip it up and it doesn't unzip from the bottom, just it starts at the bottom and goes straight up, no reverse zipper, then when you sit down with a sporran on and the jacket on, it definitely puts a lot more pressure on the bottom because you're increasing your girth by wearing a sporran, and if the jacket covers that. If it has a zip up, like a snowboard jacket I have has a zip up at the bottom, when I get dressed in the winter to come to the shop, I'll actually zip up past the sporran, so when I sit in my car, I'm not going to pop the zipper. And it just kind of relaxes a little bit around it there. But it's or get a shorter style jacket like an Ike that's going to fit a little bit higher on the waist.
Yeah. Again, I'm gonna guess that basically we're talking like modern, slightly romantic, but just a nice casual looking look with a ghillie shirt, not trying to do anything quasi historical or anything. Modern Highlander kind of a look. So I would agree. I think if you want to go more rustic, then make sure the jacket is wool, or wool-like material. I often will wear, an M65, not an M65, an M1 bomber jacket, but that's like shiny nylon. You know what I mean? And that's very modern. Looks good with a turtleneck, for instance, or a t-shirt. And that's one of my go-tos. But I actually recently got a pea coat because I found a pea coat that was a little bit short than the standard pea coat, and that's a really good look. And it's wool. It has the feel of wool, and it's got the look of wool, which goes well for that kind of rustic kind of look. I think I'm repeating myself, but heck, a denim jacket. If you're not worried about warmth too much, a good old classic Levi's denim jacket can be a good cut. I wish somebody was making something that was an authentic reproduction of a World War II era, either Eisenhower jacket or the British battle blouse, which is very similar. I had one when I was in college, and it was like an Ike jacket, but it had a belt that went around and attached on the side. You know what I'm talking about, Mac, right? That's a great jacket with a kilt. That looks awesome. And it's just it's homey at the same time as it's military. It's just because of the texture and everything. It's really good.
Yeah, there's a few places that reproduce like the Ike jackets or some of the World War II jackets you're talking about.
Expensive.
And depending on, again, it
Excuse me.
depends on where you're going to go. If you're looking for something more that's made in the U.S. or something that's made overseas, you're going to get a little bit of price difference there between the two of them. But like a company like atthefront.com, they definitely would be more on the World War II side of things. But what do you guys think about like an Inverness cape or even a cloak? Because he's going with a ghillie shirt. Like that's where my mind goes to start off with.
Yeah, man, ghillie shirt goes back to the 1950s. It's as we've said before, it's a historically inspired shirt. It's not actually a historical shirt. Assuming we're talking about the same thing, I am referring to the Ghillie / Jacobite / Highlander shirt. We've got the grommets and the leather thong lacing going up. I don't know. I think cloaks are awesome. Inverness capes they're warm and they do a good job. They ain't cheap. Some people, I know people have gotten them occasionally and been like, "There's no sleeves." Wait a minute. Wait, there's no sleeves on this. So they wind up having to figure out something to wear under the cloak anyway. It's not as simple as just like running out the door and grabbing your cloak and going, because there's no sleeves. But
I remember getting an Inverness cape in tweed for the shop one time. I had no idea how much it was going to cost, and when I got the bill, because I just wanted to order one for stock just to have, I got the bill and I was like, how much did we pay for this? But then, had to try it on, had to look at it. And the thing that I found most amusing was the way that they made it. The cape part actually had like 3 or 5 buttons to hold it on, so you could actually remove it. And I removed it and thinking to myself, like, this is like a vest trench coat. It's just no sleeves, an Inverness cape, similar to like how like Sherlock Holmes wore and that kind of stuff. It's just a trench, literally, it's a long coat with no sleeves on it, and then a little capette, a thing that comes around the shoulders and buttons down the front, to allow a freer range of motion of your arms underneath it. It was beautifully made, but it looks historical-esque. Even if it's not meant to be, it looks historical-esque just because it's such a strong, in my mind, visceral, it looks like Sherlock Holmes thing.
I think if you swap out the ghillie shirt for any other shirt or a slightly historical shirt and tweeds, like you're going hunting, then an Inverness cape is amazing. Yeah. But it's definitely much more of a 19th century or 20th century look. Guys still do wear them to go out into the hills. They still get use sometimes. I used to have a reproduction Civil War era greatcoat, but I got it for doing civilian reenactment, so it was in black instead of like the usual blue or grays. Heavy mother. It was really heavy, but it was very effective. But screamed 19th century. So yeah. But that's investment. I think there's modern stuff you could do for a nice, adventurous, and yet rustic, modern Highlander kind of a look that would work. And right now, I'm liking peacoats. If you can find one that's not full length,
Yes, and even if it is full length, I'll say this: when you said peacoat, I was like, oh, that's right. I have a peacoat. I don't know if I fit in it anymore, but I have a peacoat. And the thing that I used to do with the peacoat, or a jacket that buttons, not zippers, is if you're wearing a kilt and a sporran, you have the same kind of issue with it, being too snug on the bottom. When I would wear the peacoat, I would just do the top button or 2 on the side, not all 4 of them, so that way it expanded across the bottom and it fit me much better that way.
Yeah, I think a button closure is your friend as opposed to a zipper. I totally agree.